Hey everyone, this is Martin from Tech Altar, and I know I've been bad. I promised an Oppo R7 review would come soon, a casual 4 months ago, so sorry. Well, I'll try to be more consistent in the future. Then again, you know how reliable my YouTube promises are, so... Anyway, before I get to do the full review, I decided to put the R7 Plus on the Tech Altar to see how well the camera performs. So Oppo is currently in the process of rebranding itself from Oppo smartphone to Oppo camera phone. And it is clear to see that they want everyone to think that they are all about making great smartphone cameras, and the R7 Plus is one of the pushes into this direction.
The phone comes with a new 13 megapixel sensor from Sony called IMX278, which is the same one you'll find in the Huawei P8. As far as I can tell, it's Sony's only RGBW sensor for now, and Oppo says that the extra wide subpixel should lead to much improved low light performance. Sounds good, but what's weird then is that regardless of this focus on low light performance, you only get a relatively mediocre f2.2 aperture. High quality lenses from German company Schneider Kreuznach sure sound good though, and so does laser for autofocus and dual LED flash.
Missing from the mix is optical image stabilization, which is a bummer for an expensive camera phone, but overall the hardware sounds good, even if not revolutionary.
The camera interface is the same as on all new Oppo phones, which means it looks like a shameless copy of iOS. There you go, called it out. Anyway, it's workable for sure, and it does all the important things well enough. Slide to switch between videos and photos, and hit the bubbles for all your options, including a ton of shooting modes that I'll talk about in a second, and also settings like the handy grid mode and timers and whatnot. And Oppo talks a lot about flash shot, which means opening the camera app and focusing and shooting away should be really fast, and indeed, it's a pretty quick package. A hardware shortcut like a dedicated camera button would have been welcome if it's all supposed to be about speed, but overall the shooting experience is pretty snappy, and the laser assisted focus does a decent job even at low light scenarios where other phones struggle. Shutter is of course fast enough too, and you can shoot up to 20 pictures in a snap. To make up for the lack of OIS, Oppo has implemented an anti-shake algorithm, and yeah, I have shot a ton of photos out of moving car windows and they usually look good enough. Picture quality in good light is of course great. You get sharp images with plenty of detail, though for some reason white balance sometimes jumps around and the camera shoots images that are a bit too warm. Dynamic range is decent but not exceptional, however HDR does an amazing job in difficult scenarios while still looking relatively natural. Really good job here.
And since the camera sensor is all about the boogeyman of smartphone photography, low light shots, how does it do? Actually, really well.
This here is a handheld shot in a dark bar at ISO 3200. Zooming in, you can see a ton of detail is preserved and the noise is pretty low. I mean, it doesn't even fall apart when you brighten it up considerably. Same for this shot. It actually looks much brighter in the picture than it did in real life, and with an ISO of 3200, the image is totally usable, has acceptable colors, a ton of detail, and minimal noise. Really impressive stuff, and I think it's the best low-light shooter I've used on a smartphone so far. I can only imagine that with an aperture of f1.9 or 1.8, this could have been even more impressive. While low-light performance doesn't leave me with much to complain, macro shots are just okay. The laser focus helps to get the focus right more often than not, but you don't get the creamy backgrounds that you do on faster lenses, which is a pity. At least you get a feature called Super Macro, which takes digitally zoomed in pictures that are still 13 megapixels, and here's an example. First in normal, focus on the leaf in the middle, and then in Super Macro. You get the idea, and it's a pretty neat trick. And while we're in shooting mode, let's take a look at the rest. Ultra HD takes 50 megapixel photos that let you zoom in on an object a lot, which can give you just a little more detail than a regular shot, but just like with other Oppo phones, I find that it takes too long to process and the images are too big for me to ever turn it on. You can slap filters on your pictures before you even take them, which I'm sure all of you Instagrammers will love. You can also make GIF animations right from the camera, and I have to say, I love this feature. But even though making GIFs is somehow inexplicably fun, the quality is really low, so that's a great feature with not so great execution. Switching to expert mode will give you manual control over focus, ISO from 100 to 1600, exposure compensation and shutter speed from half a second to up to 32, as well as white balance. This is great as always. If you feel like an expert, you can also have a shooting option in RAW for better editing, though sadly you can't combine RAW photography and manual controls for some reason. You have to select either one or the other.
Overall, the camera is fast enough and has tons of photo features, both cool and useful, and it does great pictures in good lighting conditions and surprisingly good ones in low light. If only the aperture were something around f1.8, it could be even better, but at this point that's just nitpicking.
Much less impressive is video recording, and it's just extremely apparent that it's a complete afterthought for Oppo. 1080p at 30 frames per second is the most this phone can do, and colors and dynamic range are pretty good, but the lack of optical image stabilization really shows with shaky footage, and after so much time there's still no continuous autofocus. Also, those cool manual settings, sorry, they only work for photos, not for videos. In addition to that, audio quality is just miserable because of the low audio bitrate. Check this out. So yeah, I know that most people rarely ever take videos anyway, but a true camera phone should do well in all categories. Here to save the day is the 8 megapixel front-facing camera that comes with a wide-angle lens and is excellent for satisfying the not-so-hidden selfie queen in me. With boatloads of beautification options that smoothen your skin and turn you into a Barbie doll, you won't be disappointed.
And let me finish right there. Overall, the R7 Plus is definitely in Team Crispy as far as photography on both of its cameras go. Low light shots are especially impressive, which is something you rarely ever hear on smartphone reviews, so 2 thumbs up for that actually, Oppo.
Now here's a closing suggestion. If you want to successfully rebrand yourself as a camera phone brand, you will also have to pay a bit of attention to video quality, and you will need a camera UI that isn't a direct copy of iOS. If you, dear customer, are like the majority and probably don't care about shooting videos and the UI to begin with, then the R7 Plus camera has a big fat sign of approval from my end.
So that does it for the Oppo R7 Plus camera. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, punish that like button below. And if you believed me when I said that I would upload content more consistently in the future, then A, you're very naive, B, thank you very much, and C, subscribe to Tech Altar on YouTube, follow me on other social media channels. I will make a video of the R7 Plus review very soon, and I hope you guys have a great day. See you in the next one.